Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Beacon on this beautiful Sunday morning, September 13th. Here in New Jersey, where we are, we're having a gorgeous day, and we send our love to our West Coast friends and neighbors on this day, as we know that they are dealing with fires. Our love goes out to you. I'm the Reverend Emily Bogus, and I'm here with my colleague, Reverend Dr. Robin Tanner.
Good
Hi,
morning.
and one of our Beacon members, Stephanie Faison. Stephanie, you want to wave? And our Director of Music Ministry, Misa Iwama. I can't wait for the song that you're going to lead us in today, Misa. Welcome to everyone, especially our new folks. If we want everyone to take a moment to write your first name in the chat and to tell us where you're watching from. If you are new to Beacon, we invite you to fill out the guest form so that we can welcome you and let you get to know you better. Today is a very special day for us, and Reverend Robin is going to tell us a little bit more about why.
Thanks, Reverend Emily. So for folks who aren't aware, we have a partner congregation, a partner church in Barot, Transylvania. We've been in partnership for 28 years, making journeys back and forth to see each other. Our youth groups have built lifelong friendships. Our adult members are pen pals. We have worshiped together. We have traveled all over Transylvania together and all over New Jersey and New York City, making the trip every other year back and forth. And this past week on September 10th, Thursday, was 25 years to the date since the sanctuary of the Barot Church was dedicated. And we played really an integral role in that. In fact, we raised funds for the bell to be placed in the church. So we just wanted to extend our congratulations on the 25 years since the dedication to our friends in Barot. We know some of them are watching either live with us or will be watching shortly. And what a day that was. I'm told, I wasn't there, but our ministers, Reverends David and Beverly Bumbaugh, were there at the time. Beacon member Ruth Vogler, who really began the partnership 28 years ago, was there for the dedication. Over 700 folks from all over the world. So it was an incredible day. It's mixed today with the bittersweetness of not being able to have gone to Transylvania this summer as we normally would have to be together, but also with the importance of celebrating significant days with the commitment that the day will arrive when we can be together again. That's a little teaser of what song might be coming in a moment.
Well done, Robin. Well done. So I really feel like that story, especially as you tell that story, it's in keeping with our theme today. It's the power of what if. It was a moment when our congregation learned what we could do and the power of what we could do. And today is all about the power of what if. And we've invited Stephanie Faison here because she has a wonderful story about something that Beacon has been doing since COVID-19 hit. Stephanie, tell us a little bit more about what Neighborhood Beacon is and how it began.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much, Emily and Robin, for asking me to come and talk about all this. So Neighborhood Beacon started as an offshoot of the Grace initiative that we did in Summit. We were so inspired by the success of supporting local businesses and families that were struggling to put food on the table. And we all said, what if we could do that same program in our own hometowns? So we began a process of identifying leaders in towns that could start right away. And when I say start, I mean identify businesses that involve food, like restaurants, bistros, specialty food shops, cake shops, whatever it was, and identify those businesses in your own local town that you know are suffering with COVID and people not shopping or being afraid to go out and shop. And then make a connection with the organizations in your town that are actually serving the people that are food insecure, that are struggling to put food on their table. And putting that together, what we did was raise money to go out and buy gift cards and gift certificates from these local businesses, and then gather those up and take them to the organizations that would distribute them. And we have had such an important and wonderful impact on the people in our towns that are having a, whether it's business or personal, having a tough time today.
It's really amazing what we've been able to do. And so, Stephanie, what towns are we working in?
Well, currently we're in Long Hill Township, where I live with my husband, George. We're in Berkeley Heights and New Providence. We're in Maplewood. We're in South Orange and Westfield. And we're also at the Chancellor Avenue School in Irvington.
Right. And we're going to hear a little bit more about Chancellor Avenue later on in the service.
Oh, great.
How much have we raised, Stephanie, for this project so far?
Oh, thanks for asking, Robin. We've raised over $13,000.
Oh my gosh.
I know. The generosity of our Beacon community is really unlimited, and we are all so grateful.
And so I think the natural next question is, how do I get involved? If I'm not already, what can I do to support this?
Well, that's great. There are a lot of ways to get involved. First, you could join an existing team in a town and become part of the crew that buys the gift cards or takes them for distribution. Or you could say, well, I didn't hear my township named, and say, I'm going to start a team. I'm going to lead a team in this effort, and I'm going to resolve some of the struggles where I live. And then, of course, there's always the opportunity to go to our website and find the Neighborhood Beacon donation link and make a donation. And I think we're also going to have that link in this service today, aren't we? Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks so much to everybody who supported this effort. It means a lot to all of us.
And thank you to you, Stephanie. I mean, as Reverend Robin and I juggle so many things, your leadership on this has made it happen. Yours and the team. I mean, you completely inspire us day in and day out as you continue to dedicate your time and energy to it. So thank you.
Thanks.
Misa, would you sing to us now, lead us in song?
Sure. And I'll just say, I also feel very inspired by what you're doing, Stephanie. And I also just want to say, thank you. It's amazing. So Robin said that soon the day will arrive when we can celebrate together. And Emily said that she can't wait to find out what the song is. So that the song we're going to start with today is a song that is in the gray hymnal called Soon the Day Will Arrive. It's hymn number 146 for those people who have hymnals at home. It's also posted on the website if you want to see the sheet music. The song is Israeli originally, and the chorus words in that original song are, "We are still going to see how good it will be next year." And so for the way we're going to sing it in the chorus is, wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. So we're going to start actually by singing without any words. You can sing lie, 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 or you could sing die, die, die. It's just to get the tune into our bodies and to start imagining what it can be. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Wait and see, wait and see, wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. So now we're going to go back to the top and sing Soon the Day. Soon the day will arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. and the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world it can be if we share, if we care, you and me. If we share, if we care, you and me. We do care. And we will begin our service now with the chalice lighting.
Good morning. We are the Jackson family. My name is Rosina Hill Jackson.
And I'm Jason Jackson.
And we have 2 lovely daughters. This morning, we light our home chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, with these words. We light this chalice for the light of truth and reality, the warmth of love and compassion, and the fire of commitment and promise. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together.
Once there was a person named Maya. She was strong, with long brown limbs and a head full of curly hair. Maya loved to climb trees and jump in frothy ocean waves and swing from climbing frames. You know, the kinds of things most kids like to do. She loved ice cream, particularly mint, pistachio, chocolate chip. Maya also loved Friday nights because that was the night the family had pizza, watched a movie, and made a cake. What a great way to begin the weekend. Maya was really good at math and science and also loved writing, especially poetry. She would pick up a pencil, go sit under a tree, close her eyes for a second, take a deep breath, and then begin writing. The words just flowed. This past summer, though, had been hard. Maya had had to get used to wearing a mask and not seeing many friends or family. She understood why it was necessary, but she wasn't quite comfortable with it. School was starting soon, and she was worried. You might even say that she was afraid. Not like being afraid of the dark or spiders, but a different kind of fear, more long-lasting. Maya was afraid she might not be good at math and science anymore, that the words would not come for her poems. Being separated from her friends by plastic shields and through screens, would she be able to do the work? And she had to wear a mask. It was hard to wear a mask when Maya went for a walk with her family and they came near others, but to keep it on in school for hours seemed impossible. She was afraid she would hyperventilate. Each time Maya felt her fear growing, she pictured those frothy ocean waves she had jumped in all summer in her mind's eye. She took a deep breath and felt it release the tension in her body. Finally, the first day of school arrived. She felt both her fear and excitement in her body as she entered the building. Even with her mask on, Maya was able to breathe deeply. She straightened her shoulders and stepped into the marked square with her name on it. When she got to her 3rd grade classroom, Maya met her teacher, Mr. Johnson, who had kind eyes. She could see him smiling beneath his mask. Her desk had a plastic shield around it, along with another marked off square. She sat down nervously. The morning went by very slowly. It was kind of boring. Suddenly, a paper airplane landed on her desk. Maya opened it cautiously, and inside the airplane was written, "Hey, I'm bored, are you?" Maya quickly sat up. She wasn't alone. Someone else was just as bored as her. At recess, Maya looked around at the distanced kids. One of them waved and said loudly so they could be heard through the mask, "Did you like my airplane?" Maya laughed, although the person couldn't see her laughing lips. She had at least one friend who was feeling the same thing she was feeling, and she knew it wasn't going to be as bad as she feared. Yes, there would still be obstacles to overcome, things that scared her, things that felt impossible, but she was not alone. Together, Maya knew that the impossible could become possible. Maya sat down under a tree when she came home, took a deep breath, closed her eyes. The words for her next poem flowed onto the page. Here ends our story.
Each week, beloved, we kindle lights, lights of inspiration and hope, flashes of joy that have graced our lives or our world in the past week. We kindle lights of remembrance, lights of lament, cries for justice. Each week we also kindle our candle of witness, witness for the world that yet can be, witness to the violence of systemic racism, witness for the lives taken too soon and too violently. This day we kindle a light for Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud was the youngest of 3 children, the one always trying to make everyone smile and lift their spirits. He was a linebacker in high school, swift and known for his big-hearted nature. He was working for his father at the time of his death and had aspirations of being an electrician. He was 25 years old when he was murdered. So we kindle this first light for Ahmaud as I invite you, kindle lights in your homes. Kindle lights of witness, lights of inspiration, lights of lament, lights of remembrance. This day we also kindle lights in remembrance of 19 years since September 11th, which for so many of us across this country meant both personal loss as well as an incredible shift in our national identity and our global understanding of our place in the world. We kindle a light of joy as well as we celebrate 25 years of our partner church in Barot, Transylvania, 25 years since they dedicated their sanctuary, and nearly 28 years that we have been in partnership with them. Let us kindle lights together, beloved, to remember, to lament, and always to find the love that holds us all.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort
Spirit of life.
Still small voice within each and all.
God of abundant love.
Source of our being.
We come together with our songs of praise. We come together for a moment of silence and stillness. We come together for mournful lamentation.
Each from a different point on the map.
Each from a fleeting season of life.
Each from our emerging identities.
Each from our ever-evolving beliefs.
We come together to give voice to our struggles, our sorrows, our outrage.
The loss of yet another person we love.
Holding broken promises and bruised feelings.
The fear we experience with each new storm.
And with every fire that scorches our lands and our lungs. We lift up our voices so that with each breath, our bodies may know true healing.
We come together to call forth the power of creation alive within each of us and all around us.
Witnessed in the spark of a match.
Every droplet of water.
In the joining of hands and hearts.
We call forth our creative potential so that when we close our eyes, our minds may conceive new possibilities for our shared future.
And yes, we come together to rejoice with thanksgiving for those flashes of compassion, repair, and hope.
When we find the courage to face our fears.
When we uncover hidden strengths in our vulnerability.
When we glean wisdom from our hard-won experiences.
We center joy so that with open hearts, we may become rooted in our strength, our courage, our wisdom.
Let our lone voices this day join together in this song of prayer, so that we may witness our seemingly solitary struggles, our singular creations, and our particular joys as one of many singers in the great chorus of life.
Let the congregation say,
Amen.
Blessed be.
Ashe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Roz Kendelin, and I'm a friend of the Beacon congregation. I am here to tell you about my experience as a volunteer and member of the Chancellor Avenue school team. My first experience was a few years ago when I helped wrap presents at the Holiday Bazaar with Regina and other volunteers. It was so much fun to help the kids get ready for the holidays. At the bazaar, Leslie invited me to participate in tutoring. And since then, I've been tutoring once a week until last March and COVID. For example, I work with the kids in small groups reading stories. The kids took turns reading and helped each other when they hit an unfamiliar word. I remember vividly the last book we read because it would be helpful for any of us. It was a story about a bear who got jealous of her mother's attention to her sister, jealous of a best friend playing with another friend, and other situations, and how the bear coped. The kids loved it, and we all talked about a time we were jealous and what happened. Someone asked me once whether we can really have an impact on the kids' learning. Well, I believe that sometimes a little help or attention can go a long way. Kids are like sponges. They soak up attention and learning when someone is there to help them. But perhaps the biggest impact has been on me. I have participated in race discussion groups and read books on racism, but I wanted to do something. Chancellor Avenue School was perfect. A place to meet new people, the staff and the teachers of different races and colors, a chance to work with the kids, an opportunity to have fun and gain perspective. Besides tutoring, our team, with the big help from the congregation, collects school supplies, winter coats, and presents for the kids in need. We host dinner game nights. I remember some great chili that Jermaine made. We've also been able to do exciting projects. Stacy, Colleen, and Jessica, the other members of our team, dream big. We refurbished the library and last year the teacher's lounge. Many of you helped with these projects, and the kids and teachers thank you. Dr. Jackson, Chancellor's beloved principal, retired last August. So last week while we were delivering school supplies, our team met the new principal, Mr. Herbert Chase. He said he heard many good things about Beacon, and he was looking forward to our participating in this coming school year. The work at Chancellor Avenue School is rooted in Beacon's mission, one of radical inclusion, feeding the human spirit, and healing the world. In a minute, you'll be invited to support Beacon's mission through your generosity. Your contributions enable Beacon to build a beloved community with Chancellor Avenue School.
Thank you, Ross, for sharing your experiences. Hi, my name is Jessica Park, and I have been involved at Chancellor Avenue for over 8 years now. There are so many things I enjoy about being a volunteer there, but the most important thing for me is being a part of their community. The students and staff know us well, and they are always happy to see Beacon volunteers. It brings me so much joy to be a part of their wonderful community and to make a difference in their lives as they have made a difference in my life. Right now, the students are engaged in online learning, so the volunteering will look a little different this fall. But not to worry, there are still many ways to get involved. First, you can get involved by donating school supplies, which is going on right now. You can also join the partnership program or come out to spruce up the garden later in the fall. We are also looking into starting an online tutoring program. And if you know any writers or artists who would like to share their passion with the students, please let us know. You can find all this information on Spark. I hope you can find a way to get involved. Our work together as a faith community is rooted in Beacon's mission, one of radical inclusion, feeding the human spirit, and healing the world. In a minute, you will be invited to contribute to Beacon's mission through your generosity. Your contributions, big and small, enable us to live into what it means to be a beloved community. Thank you.
Six Impossible Things Before Breakfast. Can you tell me what book or movie that line comes from? 6 Impossible Things Before Breakfast. It comes from Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. It begins with a conversation between Alice, the young girl who falls down a hole, and into Wonderland, where things get curiouser and curiouser. She is speaking with the Queen, not the Queen of Hearts, the Queen of Hearts' sister. And she states emphatically to the Queen, "There's no use trying. One can't believe in impossible things." The Queen replies, "I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I always did it for a half an hour every day. Why, sometimes I've believed in as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." There is that line. Now, when I heard Dr. Julie's story about Maya, about her impossible task of going to school in the midst of COVID, I thought about the Queen's response to Alice. Believing in impossible things seems to be at the heart of imagination, our theme this month. Right now, we appear to be very good at using our imaginations to consider lots of doomsday scenarios. After all, our imaginations were quite dystopian before COVID, and reality seems to be catching up with our imaginations. Like, for instance, this week, my cousin lives in Ohio, was at a grocery store when she heard sirens going off outside. She stopped and texted her husband, who was nearby at their home, "Am I hearing tornado sirens?" Her husband texted back, "Yes, you are." She responded, "Okay, so the grocery store is having us go into the cooler." He asks, "Are you socially distancing?" At that point, she thinks to herself, okay, tornado, COVID, or freezing to death in the cooler. Seems about right for 2020. I don't know whether to laugh or to be utterly terrified by this story. I think laughing seems more helpful. We just gotta laugh at this stuff. We could substitute words like tornado, COVID, and freezing death with lots of other impossible things that feel like they're happening. Just listen to the world around you, and you'll hear people's fears of the impossible popping out. Yet, one Thursday morning, just about 2 weeks ago, before breakfast, I was moving through my morning yoga. While my body stretched, my mind raced. It raced through some pretty scary what if. What if? What if? And then, just as I shifted into the plank position, becoming centered and solid, I heard an disrupting thought. Why are we limiting ourselves by these what ifs? I breathed out. Why am I limiting myself to fear? And then suddenly, I began turning 6 impossible doomsday scenarios from fear and into possibility. From, what if I fail at work today? To, hey, what if I succeed? From, what if today the world turns to violence? To, hey, what if today turns into meaningful change? From, what if we never get out of COVID and it just lasts forever? To, hey, get it together. You're going to get through this. One day we will. Just remember, the people of 1918 didn't live through the Spanish flu forever. It's become a practice for me in the last 2 weeks, this disrupting what if. Just as the Queen suggested, 30 minutes every morning, I consider all of the impossible things, or some of them, I'm pretty good at it. All the things that I'm scared will happen. And then I just turn them on their heads. Some might say that the voice in my head was the voice of God, and why not? I would also say that it is the voice of differentiation, because until that moment of disruption, I was colonized, immersed, immobilized by fear. I had no distance from it. I was just like fear embodied. With that single disruptive thought, though, I discovered a sliver of space that liberated me. And once liberated, I began to claim hope and possibility. And this is important, I claimed determination. Not only can we believe in 6 impossible possibilities, we can find the determination to make them happen. So instead of living out fear in our lives and making that happen, we live out hope. It was in the wake of the assassinations of Malcolm X in 1965 and Dr. King in 1968 that the Reverend Dr. James Cone almost left Christianity. He was despairing. He had no reason to believe that America would rise up against its original sin of slavery, or that Christians and Christianity would commit themselves to the work Jesus called for in the Gospels, to rise up against the oppression of the poor and to rise up against the oppression of Black folks in particular. As a young child, Dr. Cone heard too many stories of white people killing Black people, so many, that each and every night when his father returned home from work and was safe, he would run and jump into his arms with thanksgiving that he had lived another day. Dr. Cone had every reason to believe in the impossibility of hate and oppression rather than the impossibility of love and liberation. For 6 weeks, Dr. Cone sat in his brother's office writing. When Dr. Cone emerged, he had written the founding text of liberation theology. He later said, "I write because writing is the way I fight, and teaching is the way I resist." So I want to ask you, beloved, how will each and all of us together fight our way out of fear? How will we together resist its oppressive powers that say your values of love and hope and liberation, of freedom, are not possible? Beloved, I can't emphasize how important this is right now as a practice for our own health and for our future. We have got to liberate ourselves from our own fear and the systems of fear that are trying to control us, and they are. And it's not just about denying fear, saying that, oh, it's not real. It's real. We can't just say everything's going to be all right if we just ignore it. It'll go away. We've all learned how magical thinking turns out. No, we've got to see the reality that is before us and then disrupt and resist for all that is our life, for all that we dream possible for tomorrow. Because I don't know about you, but what we are experiencing now is not my dream for tomorrow. When John Lewis died this summer, my daughters and I reread his graphic novel series entitled March. It begins with the inauguration of America's first Black president, Barack Obama. John Lewis is preparing for the inauguration in his office, and he welcomes in a grandmother with her 2 grandsons. He tells the story of his life going back into time, his experiences in the civil rights movement through the photographs that are on his walls. Of course, we know how history turns out. We know who survives and who does not. We know what is achieved and what is still left to be done. But in his telling, you have to immerse yourself in John Lewis's not knowing at the time. Every march, every sit-in, they had no idea whether they would live or die, or if it would make lasting change for our country, for our people. In fact, if they went by history, if they went with their fear, if they lived out of those fears, it would tell you that there was no use trying, just as Alice said. But John Lewis reminds us, all of us, with his very life and the lives of so many names who have gone before us. They remind us the power that we have to disrupt fear and live into the possibility of change. There, at the end of John Lewis's life, when there was so much despair, he had hope. He invested in that hope. In all of my time at Beacon, determination has been our gift. We've got this strength in spades. Members, leaders, community partners share with us some very real doomsday realities. And we have doubled down on our principles. We have doubled down on them, lifting up things like the human toll of war, rising up for marriage equality and Black Lives Matter, creating life-giving partnerships with Chancellor Avenue School and our partner church in Transylvania. Even now in COVID, making things like Neighborhood Beacon happen, Sanctuary Congregation, Get Out the Vote. We do not give in to fear, beloved. We disrupt. We resist. We practice 6 impossible possibilities before breakfast. Now, the skies have turned red in California. Again. It is, as my colleague, the Unitarian Universalist theologian, Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, calls it, an apocalyptic sky. Some people look at that sky and they say, like Alice, there's no use trying. One can't believe in impossible things. But beloved, that's not who we are. We not only believe in 6 impossible things before breakfast, we make those hopeful impossibilities happen for all that is our lives. And we do so together. The skies have turned red, beloved. Let's get to work. So let it be. Amen.
We began the service this morning by singing, "Soon the day will arrive when we will be together and no longer live in fear." That day is coming when we are singing together in the sanctuary. But for today, for our closing song, will you raise your voice from where you are and join in singing for all that is our life? For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Beloved, we have been gifted this day and charged by the power of what if, the imagination and the courage to both envision and live into collectively together the world that can be. From the story of Maya to the ritual of kindling lights, to the words offered by Reverend Emily, and the call for partnership with Chancellor Ave Elementary School in Irvington, we are gifted this day inspiration, hope, a light. I hope that in the midst of all that may be heavy on the heart, you feel like me, the bit of something rising within, an opening, a possibility. Indeed, as the Quakers often say, may we proceed as way opens. What if we lived like that? Continue exploring with us right after this service in our social hour. Possibility and imagination, our theme for this month. A brief, fun icebreaker, and then we'll have some time for a quick conversation. Come, pop into social hour. We'll see you soon.